Hello, I'm Kiara.
I'm Jasmine.
We're singing Song of Fandom, and guess what we're talking about today?
We went to see Captain America Civil War.
Which was pretty good, so we decided to do a review.
Yes. If you haven't seen it,
Go see
it is very good. You should go see it. Basically...
This is a non-spoiler rundown.
Yeah. Basically, there is a piece of legislation.
Yes.
That will mean that the Avengers won't be a private organisation anymore. They'll be under the governance of the UN. And Tony Stark is for it, and
This is a thumbs up, by the way.
Steve Rogers is against it.
That's pretty much the non-spoiler rundown.
It's a great movie. There are some very good lines in it.
Yeah, so if you haven't watched it yet, go. Leave. Wait, pause this video and just leave. Get out. Alright, spoiler section!
So I think it's fairly obvious who we were siding with.
This says Tony.
I'm wearing Captain America's colours and bow my hair.
And we kind of have them, so... That's pretty obvious. It was good because neither side was made the enemy.
Yeah, neither side was made the enemy, and they kind of showed both perspectives, and you could see that each side had valid points and neither of them was exactly wrong. And everyone had good intentions.
Yes.
And it just wasn't necessarily played out in the best way possible. The movie began with the Avengers going after one of the SHIELD generals who was part of Hydra. It was a really good action sequence, really good action sequence. He had a bomb vest on, and so he detonated it.
And Scarlet Witch managed to contain it, but because of the amount of power it was taking, she kind of just like flung him into the air and a building exploded.
Several people were killed, including ambassadors of a country called Wakanda. And they were there.
Which, take note of that.
Yeah.
Because that'll come back into play. And Ross comes and visits the Avengers with Tony Stark. And he kind of...
Who had obviously been talking with General Ross about this without the knowledge of the other Avengers.
Yes. So he was showing them all of the damage they'd done in saving the world, like a couple of times, like you do.
So the Sokovia Accords is a set of legislations that would give the UN the power over the Avengers, and they would be the ones to deploy the Avengers in case of an emergency.
Yes.
They were already guilty, they were already holding themselves accountable. But the fact that several people blamed them for the deaths of family members.
Yeah.
There are a couple of incidences where that comes up. And so it's really difficult situation because they already feel really guilty about it themselves. Like Scarlet Witch is really not happy with what happened, and she's feeling really terrible
guilty
about it.
So you see all this guilt coming into play. So obviously Tony's guilty because he made Ultron. So he's like, yes, this is a good thing. I can like get my guilt out and someone else can be in charge and I don't need to make any decisions. Whereas Steve's perspective is more, he wants the freedom to, if he deems a situation dangerous, to actually act, because that's all about his honour.
And also, as someone who has been under the thumb of military organisations and SHIELD, and obviously we know how well SHIELD ended up turning out, even though people had the best of intentions, he doesn't want to give up that freedom to root for the underdog and jump into fights when necessary. And then everything just goes crazy.
In the two teams, so Cap's team, you see Cap, you see
Scarlet Witch,
you see Ant-Man, you see other people.
Bucky.
I didn't take Bucky.
Hawkeye.
That's Cap's group, and you see that he's acting more out of love for Bucky, and he doesn't want Bucky to like be killed, obviously, and he's just so much friendship and love. Whereas on Tony's team, you see Tony, you see Vision, you see Spider-Man. We'll come back to that too. You see Black Widow, you see War Machine. Was there anyone
Black
else?
Panther. So the big fight.
Yes.
The big fight was
Yes.
really good. There was some great one-liners.
So they used like obviously Ant-Man and Spider-Man and more of the people who were just brought in who aren't part of the Avengers as more of a comic relief thing, which worked beautifully in the scene because there's all this tension between Steve and Tony, and then there's just these little one-liners which are like, oh, we don't talk that much in a fight. Like,
he's like, oh, sorry.
Like,
and then you have like Black Widow and Hawkeye facing off against each other.
which is also beautiful.
They're like, we'll still be friends, right?
Depends on how hard you hit me. Like,
Yeah.
it was quite beautifully done. I appreciated it because it's pretty intense apart from those one-liners.
It's difficult because you see how they're all struggling with turning or like fighting against these people that they've worked with in the past. It ends up with Captain America and Bucky getting away and the rest of their team being locked up in prison cells. That's tough as well because they're all just locked in a prison for standing up for what they believe is right.
Steve chooses Bucky over Tony. Like, that's
No,
pretty tough.
He doesn't...
If you've seen the trailer, I thought I was your friend. Like...
No, but the thing is that Bucky is Steve's brother-in-arms, and practically they've been together since they were children. And he's friends with Tony, and he was fine if Tony had stayed out of it, he would not have hurt Tony. But Tony involved himself and came after them, and then decided to try and attack Bucky when he found out that as the Winter Soldier, Bucky had been made to kill Tony's parents.
But you can see how both sides considers their perspective to be right, and that's pretty beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see.
So, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a high school kid, Peter Parker, who...
Very smart.
Yeah, it hasn't been explained how he got his powers yet. And he's developed his own webbing.
Yes.
That he uses. And he was so hilarious.
He was incredibly
because he wanted to please Mr. Stark.
Yes.
And yeah, he really held his own.
He did
in the battle against.
What surprised me about him, because we went into it not seeing any of the Spider-Man films. Yep. But like I didn't realise how he'd be strong as well. I was like, okay, like he can climb walls, he can shoot webbing, that's pretty cool. He can swing around, and then I was like, hang on, but he's like as strong. Like, even though he bruises more than Cap and Bucky, he's almost as strong. Like, he was lifting up a truck at one point. So, how much stronger has Scarlet Witch gotten since we last saw her in the Avengers? Like...
She's learned how to control her powers better.
Yeah, which is crazy because you guys know what I'm talking about because she went head to head with Vision and I was like, this isn't gonna go well. And then it did. Considering Vision was actually created, whereas she was born and then made into something else, and it's pretty cool to see that, like, even though she's still basically human with like these, like she can be injured. Whereas Vision kind of such, but she managed to like overcome him, and it was kind of very cool. Very
his
cool.
power comes from the Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
That's embedded in his forehead.
Yeah.
Whereas the Infinity Stone was used to give her powers.
Oh, you're true.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
So they should be like semi-evenly matched in that respect.
Shall we talk about the inkling of romance? I just want to talk about it. Alright, so we see that Vision has been like, Tony's told Vision to keep her stuck in the house.
Her as in Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch, obviously. Stuck in the house. And then you kind of see this, he's made her paprika? What was it called?
I can't remember.
Okay. It was like this thing. It was a thing. It was a dish. It was food. And he's like, I've never cooked before. So he's kind of being all like, and it was very cute. And she's like, oh, it tastes great. And then she's like, this isn't what it's meant to be. Let me go to the store and buy some.
And then he went by her.
Yes. But then we see later that he gets distracted by her because she's like on the ground. Is she injured?
Well, she's been hit.
She's been hit, and he's like tending to her, and then he misses what he was aiming for, and he was distracted, and the villain.
He succeeds in tearing apart the team that was the Avengers.
Which was his aim. So he was, I approved of him as a villain. He was a very good villain. And he was quite smart. Like obviously he came to the realization that he wasn't strong enough, or he didn't have powers or anything that could help him defeat the Avengers. I find it very amusing that he was the one, instead of all the other villains before him, that was like, the only people that are strong enough to defeat Avengers are themselves. I liked that. And I was like, that is a very smart thing to do. Black Panther
is the son of the King of Wakanda, the small nation where the goodwill group from that nation were injured when Scarlet Witch tried to stop the detonation.
So before watching this, I actually researched him to see how even the teams would be. So I was I kind of went into it having these expectations about him. I was like, okay, so he's very, very smart. He has it like PhD maybe?
From the movie, what we see is that he is fast, he is strong, he has like claws.
His suit is made out of vibranium.
Yes, because Wakanda is the nation that has vibranium in it, and vibranium was taken from there to make Captain America's shield.
But he's also very driven by revenge when his father dies.
It appears that Bucky was the one that did it. And so he decides he wants to kill Bucky, and he almost succeeds a bit.
He's the fights between those two are very, very well choreographed, very well done.
Obviously he wanted vengeance for what had happened to his father.
Very driven.
And then by the end of it, he realizes that it wasn't Bucky that did it. Well, they find that out. And then he finds out who did do it, but he doesn't want to be consumed by his vengeance anymore. He doesn't want that to control him, which is really
good
admirable, I
arc.
think. In that at the beginning he was just so torn up by what had happened that he wanted to get revenge on the person responsible.
It's very cool seeing him grow as a character. I liked how in this one, I mean, this isn't a very good movie if you like the slow scenes in action movies where everything just slows down, because there was a lot of fighting and the conversation was happening while they were fighting. So there wasn't like a down point where you got to like rest. Anyway, and they didn't get to rest. Where this could go.
At the end, Steve has broken his team out of prison. Bucky has been put back onto cryogenesis in the nation of Wakanda, so
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Black Panther is making that happen. Tony obviously still thinks he's in the right, at least partially. Although I think now he's realised that being under the thumb of the UN and is probably not the best idea. He gets a note from Steve Rogers saying that if they need his help, he'll be available, but otherwise they're going to stay under the radar, because obviously now they're wanted criminals.
Very keen to see what happens with like Ant-Man now.
Well, I think, isn't the next Avengers going to be the Infinity War?
I didn't know that. New information. Come on.
In which case, like, Thanatos?
Yeah, and maybe we'll see some Guardian of the Galaxy action as well. I'm so keen for it. Like, I don't...
yeah, so you'll probably have them needing to be called back into service, because... And they won't be able to fight an Infinity War over the Infinity Stones.
The tensions are going to be very interesting, because obviously they've been apart. They're going to have been apart for a while, and there would have been all this conflict
and new people brought in, and like people might be becoming disillusioned with the idea of the Sokovia Accords, and
yeah, it's very cool. Very keen. Spider-Man. On one side I'm like, how many times did I have to do it? But then again, I haven't watched any of them, so I'm also like, there's another Spider-Man coming out. I'm very keen for it.
It'll be interesting to see how he ends up dealing with the strain of being constrained.
But the thing, like, has he signed the thing? Is he actually under the UN's power? Like, is he part of the Avengers? All these questions. I have no answers.
I feel like considering he's still in high school, that he
Yeah.
should be allowed to live a normal life.
Yeah, and is he legally allowed to sign the legislation because he's not 18? I found a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions.
You always have a lot of questions.
If you have answers to any of the questions we asked, please comment down below because I want the answers so much. And let us know what team you're on before you watched it and after you watched it. Give it a like. It's a fist. It could be a thumbs up. Give it a like and subscribe to see more videos. Whose team are you on? Jasmine or mine?
The reaction of Ant-Man to meeting Captain America.
It was
It
beautiful.
was great.
I feel like we should reenact it. Hi Captain, it's an honor to meet you. I'm shaking your hand for too long.